a strong misunderstanding of how like the entertainment and music industry works. And I think that's what's driving maybe these conspiracies about like, oh, all these CEOs stepping down maybe has to do with Diddy. It really doesn't make sense. I mean, if you really study business and you study like the industry and how everything's moving, like there's a huge restructuring going on. So it's like, even though there might be loose ties, I really doubt that any of these people like care enough to like step down. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I don't. Maybe you don't feel the same way.
No, I do. I don't think that the stuff going on within music is all the way connected to Diddy. I just think that there are people in positions, both in, like I said, music and in other industries that are probably connected to him and have benefited from his relationships and might have been aware of some of the bad stuff that he was doing and let it slide. But I think everyone is kind of complacent. I think a lot of people probably knew about Diddy for a minute now and just weren't saying anything because he's very powerful. That's a very, very, very powerful, wealthy individual. So it's probably hard to go up against him, especially if you're not fully equipped. You know, it's weird. It's weird what he was getting off, but I don't know. The industry stuff is scary as well. Probably just as scary as what Diddy is doing, just because I feel like we're really seeing an attack now on just like Black music, especially. I feel like it's not like, no, I don't like how people are really hating on like the young, like the Ians and like those type of people, you know what I mean? Because like, I don't care what color you are, whatever, do whatever music you like, you know. But all these people stepping down now and getting out of positions, I feel like a lot of them are in Black music, integral to Black music, and then their artists might get kind of lost without their guidance and leadership, and then we're kind of going to become obsolete and pulled out the industry.
So maybe I'm not digging deep enough, but I want to expand on that. Like, I don't necessarily see it as an attack on Black music directly. I think that what I'm seeing is that people feel as though Black music, specifically hip hop and R&B, are not making as much money as they used to, and other genres like pop and country, and again, other genres outside of those specific genres have basically absorbed enough of the cool factor or like the musical, what's it called? Like inspirations of Black music that they are rising to the top of the charts, and they're like, all right, cool, we'll just go with this. They bled
the genre dry.
Yeah.
They took everything from it, and I just feel like now these executives that came in really making their money off that, innovating that, are really getting put out of position now. They've been replaced. They're not as necessary.
For the listeners that might not know who we're talking about, I think Kevin Lyles, right, stepped down from 300 Elektra. Julie Greenwald was replaced at Def Jam, or not at Def Jam, at Atlantic. Elliot Grange, the son of Lucien Grange, has been instated as the head of Atlantic. Next week it goes into effect, October 1st. That one is the biggest one, I think, because I think a lot of people have been talking about what's going on there, because I think he's just cleaning house. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think it would be a really tough time to be an artist on one of these labels that's going through major change, because like you said, the people that you might be dedicated to that have like really championed you in the building might no longer be there right now, and you might not have any relationship with these people approving budgets, these people that are like giving green lights on projects, approving artwork. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know, if you don't know the people, it'd be really difficult to like confidently drop right now.
Yeah, it's scary times. It's scary times, but I think that artists have been given an amazing gift in social media, in how easy it is to kind of drop now and things like that. So I think that they need to kind of take that independence really into their own hands and just move correctly now, and understand that you can't be relying on these systems that have been around forever, that have been kind of like banks. Yeah. And like loan offices for you. You might have to go get out the mud a little bit. You're going to have to really focus on these ticket sales and sell some merchandise. You know what I mean? Make real money to fund your career, build up your own business, and then go find a partnership rather than someone who's giving you a loan. Yeah. You know, like you got to just move a little bit more tact with your shit. I think that the smaller, more independent labels are going to be very, very integral right now. Shout out to TDE just launching another successful artist with Alameda. Yeah. While still staying true to their image and being relevant with the times.
Yeah.
Because I think her music fits well into the landscape of what's going on right now. Brent Faiyaz with ISO. Those type of situations are so important to be seen right now and just really, really need to be bigged up and appreciated now more than ever because we don't know where this label stuff is going to go in the next 10 to 20 years.
Yeah.
But these people, these 18, 19-year-olds, you know what I mean, want to have careers forever. So you got to get to cracking somehow, bro. I don't know.
I mean, I think it's interesting because since we've had this podcast, we've talked about the downfall of the major label system. Like that's something that we definitely saw coming when we started this shit. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people did, just with the rise of the independent music, the lack of gatekeeping, the ease of creating music compared to the past. I think it was the writing on the wall that the major label system was either going to get replaced or flipped on its head. You know, and now we are seeing it. I do fully believe right now we're in the middle of it, also with the tech boom. And I think an interesting point is that like artists aren't really making their money or the bulk of their money off of like their master. You know what I mean? They have to go to all these different places to get all their money. So to think that the label is just going to sit there and try to make all this money off the music, you know what I mean? They got to go somewhere else too. And like I saw you put in the topics like the meta deal with Universal. Cuz it's interesting cuz these artists that are doing Instagram only drops. We talked about how maybe this was a result of some animosity with their label and a way to get around some contractual things. It's funny to now see the label say, all right, you know, guinea pigs, this did work. You're right. Now we're going to go partner with Meta. And so it's pay to play again. If you want to you're not going to get cracking on TikTok or Instagram anymore using algorithms. Yeah. If you want to be cracking here, you have to come play with us and go through Universal because that's what's going to be pushed on those apps, you know?
It's isn't it funny how quick they can adjust and pick up on something?
Yeah.
Because you know they were monitoring it, and at the top of the top, people were I know Cardi had people scrambling.
Yeah.
Cardi probably had people just so confused. Like, what is he doing? And I wonder who was in on that. Do you think people knew that he was going to do that?
Maybe like a few people, but I really feel like it was just him. I really think that it was just on some I can, so I will just upload this to Instagram.
I would be so interested to see what type of conversations we heard about those. Because they never came out on DSPs either.
I just don't think he's as... I mean, he's calculated, but I don't think he's as calculated as we're like giving him credit for here.
But I'm not saying he was the first time. But he did it once, and you know he got a phone call.
Oh, for sure.
So he knew what he was doing more. And you know by what did he do, 4 or 5?
Yeah.
By 3... After it had gone viral, he was getting a couple phone calls.
Yeah,
I think Cardi might be, you know what I mean? Just also interesting shit. I give him some credit for that. But yeah, what you're saying is very, very true, Spencer. You gotta pay to play always, which is sad to say because it is a creative venture. This music shit for everybody.
Where are we going? Take your best guess. Where is all this gonna land in 10 years?
I think that the labels aren't bad because I think that there's people within the label system that genuinely care. We both exist in the major label system currently, and I think we're busting our ass. You know what I mean? You saw it firsthand, Spencer. Like when you're there, you were making relationships with people. Like you care.
Yeah.
When you're in the building.
Yeah.
I think that there's plenty of people like all three of us that really want to push this music shit forward and make it better, that are currently employed by these systems that are just going to have to relearn how to do business. You can't go about signing people. You can't go about discovering people the same way that you've been doing shit like previously. You have to update what's important to you. You have to understand what's moving culture and be like, how can I get my artist to be a part of this without forcing it? You know what I mean? You have to have an understanding of what's going on. And make it still advantageous for an artist to sign. Yeah. Because at a certain point, these other companies are going to figure out ways to make a more appealing offer.
Yeah. I think that's the key, is making it advantageous, because right now it's not. Like right now, I don't think there's not enough money to go around. You know what I mean?
I think it's advantageous for some people.
Artists, yes, but I'm talking about everyone, like the employees that are getting laid off in masses as well.
Yeah.
Like the business itself is not running as it was. You know what I mean? It's there are problems that need to be fixed, and I think that to fix that, something either needs to be changed about consumption or distribution. You know, like if we want to continue to support a whole team at a label and pay everyone to work these records and have this big business, then we need more money out of the product itself, which I think means going back to more D2C lanes. We've talked about it. We saw Travis do it. You know, we've seen what happens with merch bundles.
I mean, bro, we've been talking about live too.
Yeah, touring too.
That matters.
But that's not the label. Like that's not gonna.
They got to figure out how to. I'm saying you have to figure out what's if you're a label person right now, you have to see what's making money and figure out how can I integrate myself in that now.
That's what I mean. It's like either consumption, like how we consume the song, or the label needs to partner with different people, with tech companies, because that's where the money is, or with touring companies. You know,
my thing is, and why I am hopeful for all of this is, to me, it's a simple conversation. You go to this is high level shit. You know what I mean? I'm not on the level that is having these conversations. You know, above me, but you go to whoever else is of your same status at a touring company, at Meta, whatever, and say, hey, let's work together. I know I have something here that can help you. Mm-hmm. You have something that can help me. Let's collaborate. If those conversations are constantly happening amongst the higher ups to where it's not competition, it's collaboration, I do have faith for the industry if there's also people on the label side who care about the music. Mm-hmm. And I think there are, hopefully. But there is hope.
I think there's hope too.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't really know how to answer your question, Spencer. I think erring on the side of like technology and always being close to that is important. I think what I see on my side is I feel like it's more advantageous than ever to like be part of a management company, just because like they're just lighter on their feet. You know what I mean? And I've seen these management companies grow and build almost like label-like systems. Like a lot of management companies, obviously you have like a day-to-day business manager, an accountant, whatever. But then you also are starting to have people that do marketing and people that do digital and like maybe even people that err on the press side. Like I think what a label used to do really well, and it just took way more time and you had time and you could afford to do this, was the artist development process of having all these different departments and working artists for years and turning them into superstars. Now, because you don't have as much time to do that, or people feel like they have to make money quicker, being lighter on your feet and having these different avenues and being close to the artists and being able to give them the most attention possible is really the way to be successful. Because I feel like the problem with labels is that the resources obviously are being gutted. So there's going to be less time for each individual artist, especially if you have like 100 artists signed to a label. But if you have a management company with 10 artists and you have a staff of like 15, 20 people, you have a way better chance at developing those artists and giving everybody the chance they deserve and the attention they deserve.
I guess, but I don't even think it's like, I think we just have to make better music. Like I don't really see a problem with any of the other departments, to be honest.
No, but like I think that he's so right, because it's not like it's not just the quality of music. Like just look at album sales. And like they're like, look at how far album sales are down from 10 years ago.
But
and keep that in mind with like, well, no, keep that in mind with like you're getting less money per sale because of streaming. So I think what Jose's saying is right, because like we're saying, artists are finding these different revenues of getting paid. As a management company, you get paid too.
Yes.
You move, you find the ways. You're not just worried about this one product, which is the master, which is this final delivered thing, which is the only thing you make money off of. You know what I mean? I think that's really smart.
Yeah.
But the music has to be better to create more demand as well, to me. Because I'm like, everything you're saying is true, but we knew that. You know, these more independent, smaller teams are always going to be better if they have the right talent to support that, you know? You're not going to be stretched as thin because TDE has what, like 10 artists total? If that. It's probably easier for them to build out their company and only work those acts and be very selective about who you bring in. Having a boutique operation, I agree, especially if you can do it to the highest level like they are, makes more money for yourselves. You can pay the artists better. You can pay your producers in-house and shit better. Like, best way of doing things. But is there a reason for the major label system to exist then is kind of what I'm getting at. Yes or no? Is it ever, or do you think it's just going to be obliterated completely?
I don't know.
Because I think that what Island is doing right now with Chappell Roan and Sabrina Carpenter is 10 out of 10. I think that when Beyonce is in cycle. I think that they do a great job at Columbia. I think that RCA does a great job with SZA, Steve. Da, da, da. So like there are people that benefit from this system.
Yeah.
And they're making really fucking great records. But with these young artists, I think a problem is we kind of allow them to put out too much bullshit. And I think that fucks them up. Because now I'm talking about established acts. But there hasn't been a lot of new acts that have popped off recently to me that feel like they're going to have a super long career. And that also affects the music industry. That probably affects listenership because a young kid probably wants to be attached to an artist that they find and like can grow up with. Yeah. But a lot of those artists are dying off pills and shit like that, or like fucking getting in gang violence, things like that. Like, I don't know. The industry just feels like it's supporting non-sustainable things a lot, music and behaviors of these young people that are coming in. And I think we really need to look at ourselves and be like, we have to develop these like humans more. Yeah. And like just teach them better and like make better people. You know, like TDE feels very family oriented. I think that's needed a lot more in this. You have to really care about I don't know. It just feels so microwavable. It feels like there's a new kid that gets bigged up as the next one every fucking month or so in the underground. And like, they never end up really reaching their full potential. And I feel like the music never gets fully developed. It's like, oh, I see where this music could go, but it doesn't ever get there anymore. I don't know. The music process has to, we need like old A&Rs, bro. The A&R shit is bad, bro. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, niggas need to be like a lot better. Niggas have to look at themselves in the mirror and like step up. And not try to just chase what's hot, honestly. Yeah. Like actually chasing things that they can speak to and make sense for them to work. And like be in the studio with and get them with producers and writers, you know? I think that's a definitely big thing. Because you guys in digital kill shit. To be honest, most digital marketing people I talk to are really, really good at what they do. And like can manage, like, I don't know, do you feel differently or no?
No, I don't feel differently. No,
you know there's a reason why that's a very hot commodity. I think most sync people I talk to are doing the best with what they have the opportunity to. Like, I don't know, bro. A&Rs, I think we have to look ourselves in the mirror, and I think shit could get tricky for us. I think people might start pointing the finger at A&R and be like, wait, these kids are A&Ring themselves. These kids are self-producing a lot of the time now. Like, what is your necessity really? Yeah, to be honest. But that's just, I guess maybe that's a selfish perspective.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. There's something about your point. I think it makes a lot of sense, but I don't know. Not to like blame the genre, but that feels very much like a hip hop problem right now, right? Like it feels more like a rap problem where other genres of music. Because I was saying like earlier that like they're gutting hip hop and R&B, but the quantity thing feels like a rap problem specifically, and I don't know why
I think that every pop artist is still and should be looking to sign to a major label, and I think that makes the best sense for them and the genre. I don't think it's ever been stronger than it is right now, but I think the only people who shouldn't be signing to major labels at this point, it seems like, are rappers and R&B singers. Every other genre is kind of thriving, and I think like obviously, I mean, rock music, I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't really think there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, country's doing great at labels. They're pushing and developing them. Like, those pop and country are being developed great at labels. I don't know what's the disconnect with hip hop and R&B.
So you know what may be kind of like the fusion of all points is that, I mean, hip hop has always been like a quantity game, right? I don't think that is like necessarily new. I think there's an ability to make music in mass now because of, you know, being able to set up your own studio and like DistroKid and all these different things. But maybe the fusion is like the system has been bleeding it dry because you can produce in mass. And now that everyone sees that it's starting to not work as much, these other genres are thriving because the quality is still there because you're not producing so much in mass. And so now they're shifting over and the system makes sense for them. But at a certain time, the system made sense for like hip hop and R&B acts. I feel like it did in the past when it was first coming up. Yeah. Because it's so hot. Yeah. You know what I mean?
There was definitely a moment in time. I think Kanye, Pharrell, Jay-Z, that time it was probably peaking, right? I think Travis caught a little bit of that at the end. I mean, Chance the Rapper was like in a label bidding war and ended up doing didn't he do like a partnership with like Apple Music? Yeah. Like he was getting money off this shit. But I think there was a big turning point probably around maybe 2017.
Bro, really? And really, the 2020s just like turned that up a notch.
Yeah.
Like it went super crazy with the basically TikTokification of like social media. Just being able to produce in mass was just so much easier.
And I'll be honest, bro, like the Cardi clones fucked it up. Like,
I was gonna say,
yeah.
Did rap maybe just get worse?
Rap got worse.
Are we just like really like
see my point
padding it up? And
do you see my point about we need to make better music?
Yeah, I think rap.
When I'm talking about that, I'm talking to hip hop and R&B acts.
But it just needs to be gatekept more because there's certain people should not really be artists, to be honest.
But that's what I'm saying.
Or sorry, anyone could be an artist, but like to be signed to a major label and to be just making any type of music is crazy. It's really crazy. Just because your song goes up on social media doesn't mean you should get the privilege of like being signed and being distributed in mass. I think so.
And I think that they caught on to the trick of like, oh my God, this kid is blowing up. Their engagement is crazy. This is the next big thing. Their concerts are wild. There's a cap on all these people though. They don't go past a certain point. So like it looks really enticing when it's first happening, but then you get it for like a year or two and it's like, oh, you see the steady decline. People start to point out like the music starts to sound the same and shit like that. And I think that label heads and people are starting to realize that and maybe are less excited to sign these things, you know? And I think as people who love the genre, if we can be around it, if we have the opportunity to impact it, we have to really push and big up the shit that we believe is sustainable and not shit that's fueled by a fucking 16-year-old that we know has a lean addiction and letting him continue to do that and being in the studio while he's doing it every day.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird to me.
Ose always smiles when you bring up a lean addiction.
Bro, because it's like, what are we doing? What are we, bro?
No, you're right. You're right.
You're very right.
Is that funny? Like,
no, I think the delivery and the example is funny, but I think ultimately, like fueling anybody with a drug problem is just like super morally wrong. I just think the music industry and Hollywood specifically, morality just gets super blurred. So like allowing something like that to happen is not even the worst thing that people be doing. You know what I'm saying?
That is the worst thing you could do, bro.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying like how in a system, hear me out. In a system where Diddy can survive and thrive for decades, what you're saying is like almost like a minuscule problem. Because I think morality across the board is blurred. Should a 16-year-old have a record deal? I don't think so.
I think they should.
I don't think so.
I think
bro.
that's fine.
I don't think you should be allowed to sign contracts at that age.
You can't. You have to have a parent guardian.
But I'm still saying to get into those very heavy agreements.
I'm with you.
Confusing
I mean, but then
me.
you go into like there's no child actors. Then a kid can't be in a commercial. Like you can't. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, maybe they shouldn't be.
Extent, you know what I mean? But acting and like cinema and things like that.
Maybe we don't need kids on TV.
Art. I think that there's
those Disney Channel stars, bro.
But here's what I'm saying.
Nickelodeon,
bro.
But now here's what I'm saying. As the normal people, as people who come from very privileged backgrounds, where we didn't have to go through a lot of the trauma and things that a lot of these young artists did have to go through. Not to say that we're any smarter on any pedestal, but we might just have a different perspective on life that they're not thinking about. When we get the opportunity to interact and be with these people, I think that one, it's important to obviously gain their trust and like talk to them like a real person, you know, not a commodity. And then once you have that relationship, I think you should feel comfortable calling them out on bullshit. And like telling them things that are going to affect their career, their business, all of their shit. You know what I mean? When you have the opportunity, when it's your place.
But that's what I'm speaking on is the system, because people are only signing like these kids as commodities. They're not thinking about their well-being, because the reality situation is, bro, and I'm sorry to say this, but it's like if something happens to this kid, we're just going to replace him with the next one. And I think that is the messed up part about this. It's a system thing is what I'm saying.
But I don't think we have to continue to push that system.
Oh no, I agree. I'm agreeing with you.
Yes, and I think we need to. That's why if I'm gonna bring an artist into the building, I want to actually believe in the human being and understand the human being and care for the human being and like have a real human relationship with this person. I don't just want to bring someone in and just like, oh, like submit you know what I mean? Like not really be a part of the process of like understanding why they're even making the music that they're making and things like that. We don't need to just bring in people because they're doing something for fucking 2 weeks and are generating crazy buzz, you know? Because you don't know where that's going to go in 2 years. And I think that that's what's creating in our genre of hip hop, these 2-minute stars and devaluing the genre. It's like, it's damn near like the running back position in football and shit like that. You know? Like people just don't really, will just use it up, you know, for like the first couple years while they're hot. And then you never hear from these people again.
35 touches a game.
You're crazy. You know? Shout out Bijan Robinson.
Bless you.
Thank you, man.
That was, I guess, that was enough of an industry rant, man. Niggas don't
super music-y music.
Let's talk about women.
What?
Yeah.
When did you guys know you were in love, man?